Well, the cycle path is so quiet this morning. And we got a nice tailwind to relax in now. After doing the first block of efforts, which to be honest, I didn't feel great in. But it's straight out the door, so I'm gonna put it down to that. The efforts are ones that I haven't done for maybe since March, maybe. And they're basically 30s, 30 seconds at like 115% of FTP, which is basically the power output I did for the hill climb on Sunday, and recovering at zone 2, so not complete recovery. And the block is quite big, it's like 25 minutes in total, so pretty big block really if you think about it. But we're used to doing maybe 40-20s, so 30-30s. I'm doing a bit more on this ride, so I don't want to really push the boat out too far. I'm heading now back into town, and I'm gonna hit the cycle path, and the plan is to do a circuit called the Carway Trainer Climbers Edition, which is an extension of the Carway Trainer, which is about a 31k segment on Strava, which I tend to ride at tempo, and that'll give me a good build of TSS. Seems to be the theme now of this kind of YouTube series for hill climbing. Last year wasn't so bad, but this year I don't know if that was caught on the GoPro, but that dog basically ran straight for me. I unclipped my left foot and he ran like underneath, like between my left leg and the frame. What an idiot. The only bad thing about this path is that people leave their dogs off the lead for it, and that's not a problem unless there's a cyclist coming along and the dog is hiding in a bush and they run out and you can't see them. That's the only downside. But anyway, as I was saying, this has been a fairly wet series so far. Like last year it was fairly decent weather, a bit cold but not too wet. But it's interesting actually how, like today's first effort, I didn't feel great for, but it'll be interesting to keep a tabs on how many days I don't feel good in this prep, because it could go some way to explaining that even if you do have bad days, it still plays a part, and that you'll still have good form and good fitness if you get through them smartly. Well, that went well. So I was asked this question by Andy Zwift a few weeks ago. I'm going to put it up on the screen right now. Andy, if you're watching, thank you for the question. Sorry it's taken me so long to get to it, but I feel like it's more irrelevant now than any other time. So, number one, let's just skim through this to make it as simple as possible. Number one, training. Let's split it down. I've been doing a lot of double days. A lot of my days include 150 TSS on average, with the odd 200 TSS day or race day, which would equate to a lot more than 200 TSS. So that would give me something in the week that is an overreach, so to speak. So, you know, we're kind of ticking over, and then we'll have like kind of one day that's like, boom, a big day, and a lot of that time it's a race, specifically in the season it would be, but like right now it'll be like a double day that would have excessive TSS, but more than anything it's about being consistent. I've averaged around about 13 to 15 hours a week, like all through the year, even more so now. Like 13 hours a week is like pretty much all I need to do. being mentally focused and fresh on certain workouts is a biggie. Like, I can't push that enough. Like, you'd be amazed at how good I feel sometimes when I just, even the day before a big ride, or a day before a hard interval session, I go, right, I'm going to nail that one. And that's all I think about. For example, the day that I did my best ever 5-minute power and the best ever 20-minute power in the same day, and that's rare because they're two different, completely different efforts. But I was very hyped for that day. Number 2, sleep. Bed at 9:30 most nights. I get at least 8.5 hours sleep, I'd say. I don't know how much of it is quality sleep, but to be honest, I'm not too big into that. So long as I'm in bed long enough, then I don't really mind. Dark room, I have like dark curtains. Like, I'm a massive believer in darker the room the better. I'm still not one of these people that, if you sleep in a hotel room and you have like a red light on the TV, like, I don't have to like put something in front of it or like tape it over or anything. I don't have to do that. But yeah, it's still something that I'm pretty big into. And a fan. When we had a big hot spell in the summer, having your room at a good temperature, like a fan, is important. But you're trying to keep yourself cool and you don't want to be too hot, obviously. And number 3, nutrition. I'm a lot more higher carb than normal, and I've still maintained the lean muscle mass that I have, and I've still maintained a lean body weight. That's something that's kind of new to me this year, because on previous editions, I've always thought that, okay, if I lower my carb, or at least carb cycle or whatever, then that will create the biggest impact on my body composition, and I'll be a lot leaner. Well, yes and no. Like, it obviously works, but it makes me feel crap sometimes. I'm not gonna like BS you, but like, I feel crap most of the time. But with this, I've still been eating a lot of carbs. My fat is like a lot lower actually, and therefore eating more carbs, moderate protein, and I feel a lot better. I feel like I have more energy. I don't feel like I have any crap workouts or anything like that. So to be honest, it's like 4 to 6 grams per kilogram a day consistently of carbohydrate, and then like 150 grams of protein, something like that, and less than 50 grams of fat. I've been drinking more coffee than normal, something around generally a cup a day, which probably doesn't sound like a lot, but it's around about, I'd say, 100 milligrams of caffeine a day, which again isn't a lot. But I just use my plunger. I don't have a coffee machine. I'm not into all that just yet, but I'm just here for the basic stuff, so that's what I do. Why so many good days? And I've written this down here, but I've been at around 100 fitness now, like on Training Peaks. Like, my fitness has been around about 100. When I did the Tour of Britain, it went up to like 116, and that was like as high as it's been all year. Now, in past seasons, I've got up to like 130 odd, but to be honest, like, those of you that know, it doesn't really matter so long as like you feel like the number doesn't really mean anything. Like, as long as you feel good and you're doing well and you're having good workouts, then that number doesn't really tell you much. So I've been around 100 fitness for about 2 months now, and it's just been a balance there. And it's more about how I feel between sessions and how I feel about increasing workload. Like, do I feel like I need more? Do I feel like that'll push me over the edge? Maybe, so I don't do it, that type of thing. So I ask myself questions all the time in that regard. And if you have a coach as well, like, I'd encourage you to, prompt the coach. Like, ask the coach, like, do you feel like I could do more? Do you feel like, or ask yourself as well, and then relay that to the coach, so the coach knows how you feel. Otherwise, the coach will never know if he's giving you enough, if he's giving you too much. It's all about athlete feedback in that regard. I let my form get closer to 0 for race days so that I'm a little bit more fresh. That doesn't mean it gets to 0. I just let it kind of come down to 0, or at least start to get down that way. And I've been floating in that area where I've never been too fatigued, and it's kind of a sweet spot to find. So, like, the sweet spot in that regard is where you feel like you're just floating and you're having good workouts all the time, you're not getting sick, your sleep is good, you're not binging on food, you don't crave anything, it's just like your mood's good, like everything is just good. And for me, this is that time period. Like I'm very zen at the minute about like, lots of things. Don't you just love cold corners? So it is a lot about just looking after yourself. Yeah, that's it, I guess.